Hi. Okay, we're going to go over how to properly use the trash pump. This is what we call a trash pump. It's a portable pump. We have two of them currently. One is located on the water tender and one is located on engine 283. And then we will have a third one that we will put on engine 83 when we get it in the fall. So this is used for getting water either out of a drop tank, which we're going to go over how to use later, or it is also used for drafting out of static water sources like a creek or a river or a lake. So when you're going to use this, you need a couple things. Obviously, you need the pump first. You're going to need at least one section of hard suction, maybe two, just depends. These are anywhere from 8 to 10 feet, depending on which piece of apparatus that you have. I usually grab two just in case, and if you don't use the second one, you don't use the second one. You're going to need a straining device, so we have two. We have what they call a barrel strainer, which is basically, it goes on the end of the hose, and then obviously you see the water goes through here. It keeps all the other junk from getting out. And then this is what they call a low-level flat strainer. Same concept, but this will sit flat on the bottom of either a snack tank or it'll float to the bottom of a pond. And then this will sit on the bottom so all the silt and stuff stays out, and then it'll suck up the water through this. Either one is fine. Engine 283 has this on it in addition to this, as does the water tender. We carry different types of hard suction, size of hard suction, but the only hard suction that's going to work on this trash pump is the 3-inch that we carry. So it's 3-inch hard suction with 2.5-inch couplings, same size couplings as we have like our 2.5-inch hose, all the discharges, all of that stuff is the same. Okay, so we're going to go over the pump. We're going to learn how to operate it real quick first, and then go over how to test it on a weekly, and then we'll hook all the hoses up and we'll actually run it. So the pump itself, it uses a 4-cycle or basically unleaded gasoline. So we use True Fuel. We keep True Fuel on the water tender and on the engine just in case we need it. We use True Fuel because it doesn't have ethanol in it, so it doesn't mess up the spark plugs. Some of the fuel in California will do that. So we use this. We don't just get gas from the gas station for it. Okay. When you're going to check it on the weekly, basically just a gas tank. Take the lid off of it. Make sure it's at least 3/4 full. Generally, if you can look down and your finger can touch the fuel, that's plenty of fuel. So we're going to check it on the weekly, and then after we run it, if we're ever going to use it, we're going to check it again. Okay. The connections on here are already pre-done, so you don't have to change those. We do put a double male on here. On occasion, you will get hard suction that some people have reversed, and you're going to have to put the strainer on the end of that. So we just leave that here on the handle just in case. Okay. So if you're going to test this on the weekly, first thing you're going to need to do, you're going to need to take this cap off. Important thing, this cap is plastic, right? And you can see the threads right here. It's just regular hose thread. So when you take it off and put it on, it's super important when you thread it, don't cross thread it. It should go on easy. If you feel like it's tight and it's not going on, just stop, take it off, put it back on. Okay, so we're going to take that off. When you're going to run it on the weekly, you can only run this pump dry for 1 minute, but you can run it wet for an unlimited amount of time. So when you're doing it on the weekly, one person will hold the hose right here. This is a plastic impeller, so if you run it dry, it'll get hot and it'll actually melt the impeller. So we run water through it just to keep it cool. The only thing we're doing on the weekly is we're running it to make sure that the actual motor gets run, and we're putting a little bit of water through it. Okay. So I'll have Firefighter Cassidy get you on the water here in just a second. But that's okay. Cody, you want to come hold it? You can turn it on, it runs fine. So the other thing that water does, it primes the system, right? So you can see the water coming out of here. The water's coming out of the discharge. So the 2.5-inch is the inlet. The discharge is an 1.5 inch, 1.5-inch coupling, just like we always have. Okay. So to physically start it, I'm going to twist this so you can see it. In case you might get wet. There's an on-off switch right here, right? we put it away in the off function. Up is off, down is on. So you physically have to turn it on. Let's take this back, sorry. You're a little wet again. Okay. On the back here, I'll go around so Tom can zoom in on it. Okay. This is your fuel switch. The arrow is on, so we leave the fuel off so when it's bouncing around down the road, it doesn't get flooded. So before you pull the recoil or anything, you're gonna turn the fuel on and you're gonna turn the choke on. So this over here is where you're gonna put it to start it. Once it's in that position, you can physically run it, right? So it's just full start. So once it gets going, you're gonna put the choke over here, okay? That's regular run. This is your throttle. All the way in. This way is up. All the way out is idle. Don't put it all the way out, that'll kill it, okay? So, you're gonna put it to here. You're gonna hear it run. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit so you guys can hear me a little bit better. You're gonna put it on full throttle, but it'll sense the pressure and it'll actually kick down and it'll run higher once there's water in it and there's pressure underneath it, okay? So, that's how you're gonna run it on a weekly. So we're gonna shut it down, we're gonna go over how to connect up all the connections, and then we'll fire it back up. So when you're gonna shut it down, bring the throttle down to about here, and then just shut the on and off button off. Turn the fuel off, set the choke back up, it's ready to go again, okay? When you're done, you pull it out. Put the plug back in, okay? Super important. We can't use this without the plug. If we don't have the plug, we won't be able to use it on a fire. If for some reason you break the plug, just tell somebody I can order one. They're plastic, they're cheap. Okay? When you put the plug back on, it just has to be snug and tight. It doesn't have to be wrenched on there, right? So just leave it on there so it's not gonna fall out. It'll be good, okay? So now we're actually gonna set this up to draft. We've used Engineer English little bath tank here as an easy prop. So you're gonna take your hard suction, put it in your water source first, let it sink. So there's two types of hard suction. This has ears on it. Some of the hard suction has ears, some of it doesn't. So if it has ears, line it up. Both hands. Snug it up, okay? So you can see this is fully submerged. That's important. You want that to be fully under the water, otherwise it's gonna suck up air. So the next thing is, how do we get water from there to here? We have to prime the pump. There's a couple different ways you can do that. Quickest, easiest way, grab a water bottle, dump it in there, that will prime it. The other way is, and we're not gonna do that this way because this is a tiny pond. If it's a big pond, you can drain that, lift up the hose and run water back in, okay? Once this is all set up, the important thing to remember is, this is a moving system. So when you draft water, the water always needs to be moving. If it's not gonna be moving, you need to figure out a way to recirculate it. For this instance, we're just gonna hook up a little 15-foot section of hose, and we're gonna shoot the water right back into the tank. In reality, if you're on the engine, you can grab the hose reel, throw the hose reel in there, just crack it. The water just needs to be moving, okay? So for this demonstration, I'm gonna have firefighter Cassidy hold it and then he'll just shoot the water back into it, okay? So, system is set, right? We have draft hose, we have discharge hose, now we have to prime the system, okay? So this water bottle serves two purposes. We'll pour the water bottle in here. That should give us enough water to draw, okay? The whole thing doesn't need to be full. It needs to be full to about this line, right? Because once you get to this line, the water's gonna run out. It needs to be up to here so that it'll have enough water to start with the draw, okay? So, don't throw away your water bottle. and I'll show you why. Okay. Put that back on. Okay, so we're gonna fire this up. You'll hear the motor change once it primes. Fuel back on. I'm gonna turn the choke not like it was before, because obviously it's already warm, okay? Other cognizant thing, this says hot. This is exhaust, right? So when this is running for a long time, this gets super hot. Safety wise, make sure you have your gloves on whenever you're doing this, because if you touch that, you're gonna burn your hand. Other thing, I have done this, so this is what I'm telling you. If you're gonna refuel the trash pump, turn it off first, fill from this side. Because what will happen is, every once in a while, a little bit of vapor will get going, this will be hot, and it'll ignite. That has happened to me. So, just please be cognizant of that. Okay, so we're gonna fire it up. We're gonna throttle up. Once you see, you'll hear the water, you'll hear the motor change, and you'll know that it has water. Okay, so you see how the hose is starting to fill? It's starting to kick down. You hear the motor change? That's what's doing that pressure. He'll get it again. He'll get it back. Okay, so you see how the hose change, here's the motor drop down? That's how you know it's under pressure, okay? So, put on this side. Where the water bottle comes into effect. It's not as important when you have this type of strainer. You grab the barrel strainer. When you have this type of strainer, what happens when you pull the water in? It creates a vortex which sucks air down. But what you do is you take this, you throw it right on the top, and it will spin this bottle, but it won't let air in because it'll pull the bottle down and it'll just keep the bottle on the surface. Right here. And you don't have to worry about it. On average, you'll probably run 2 to 3 hours on one tank of gas, depending on how much you're pumping and if it's continuous or not. So we have enough crew fuel. We can usually run for about 6 hours before we need anything else. Okay? So that's the basic premise. It will pull up to 10 feet in height and 30 feet in distance drafting. Obviously, the farther away you are, the higher it is, the pressure's not as good. In this instance, if you can get within 10 feet and less than 10 feet of lift, you'll get about 170 gallons a minute out of it. The further away you go, you're going to get less. But important takeaways, remember, you got to have the water flowing, otherwise you'll lose your prime and it's not going to work. But you can see it kick down pretty good on its own, just with that one bottle of water. If you don't have a bottle of water, you can do what we said with the hard suction, or you can take your helmet, dump your helmet in, and pour it right in.